Hello everybody. So another quick video today, celebratory video. My portfolio is at all-time high thanks to Tesla and HIMS. Life is wonderful. The topic of this video is strategy. I'm going to talk about strategy, but this is within the context of we can't know when assets pop. You just can't know when you're going to get that green candle that I outlined here. You can't know. And so of course today we celebrate. I mean, Tesla's back to recent highs. It's gained back all of its losses from all of the drama that we had back in May with Elon Musk. It's gained it all back. People are catching up, 7% up today. I mean, we're almost at $400. This is great. HIMS was way up yesterday, 8%, was up 8% yesterday. HIMS up 7% today. So again, all of the chatter, all of the FUD about these companies is gone, and they've popped 16%. Yeah, right, 16% in 2 days for HIMS, 14% in 2 days for Tesla. You gotta be in the stock. If you're not in the stock, you may miss out, right? That's the problem with options. With options, you have an expiration date with an option, and so sometimes you may be out of the window and you end up missing the gains. You know, it's only a few days out of the year where you can get the insane gains, and if you remove them from ownership, if you don't own the stock during those few days, you're going to miss out on the gains. And so let's talk about strategy now. It's been painful owning strategy for the past, 3 months, 4 months now. It's been pretty painful to hold strategy because it's just keep going down. The NAV, the price to NAV has kept going down. And today is yet again one such day. Today is yet again a day where Bitcoin was up 2%, strategy was only up 1.6%. And of course, this is too zoomed in. We need to zoom out. And when we zoom out to 5 years, strategy has just so outperformed Bitcoin. Strategy has done so much better than Bitcoin. But it's over a long-term period, right? You gotta look over multiple years. And so it is frustrating. We are in a valley of despair for strategy, but we can't know when we're going to get the pop. We can't know when. It could be in 2 weeks, could be in 2 months, could be in a year and a half. I mean, look at Tesla. Tesla is one of these stocks that took so long, so much waiting before we caught a break with this one. It can take a while. And so we keep dipping, right? The MNAV 1.43, we keep dipping, although we rebounded just a teeny tiny bit, but we keep dipping. And I sure hope that it was ATMing a lot today. I hope there was a lot of ATM done today. I want to talk briefly about the Bitcoin yield. You can see we're already at 26% Bitcoin yield. He revised the target for 2025 to 30% Bitcoin yield. I think we're going to achieve that. Then all hopes are on stretch to know whether in Q3 he will update that BTC yield guidance again. So all eyes on Stretch for that to see if he will update it or not. It will depend on Stretch. And Saylor tweeted something about Stretch today, by the way. So maybe something brewing with Stretch. I don't know what. But the point is, if you remember this company last fall, most of the yield, out of the 74%, most of the yield was done in the fall last year. Most of the yield was done in the fall. So I would say we could still get 35% yield. Why not for the whole year? We could still get that, and that depends either on the volume of shares being issued or on actually the MNAV being high, right? So if the MNAV is high, you may not have to issue as many shares in order to generate the same BTC gain. But right now, so like I said, I hope he used the ATM a lot, especially on a day like today where Bitcoin was doing well. Let's assume he issues $1 billion worth of MSTR common shares at a 1.43 MNAV, which is where we're at right now. That's still a 30% margin on those shares. And remember, MSTR, the equity, MSTR is the product. It is the product of strategy. They are selling equity to buyers who are going to own this product as a saving method. It is the product, right? And so if you issue $1 billion at 30% margin because you're selling $1 for $1.43, and you're selling $1 billion divided by $1.43, that's the number of shares. You sell it at about a 30% margin. That would be still accretion of $300 million in a week. We know it does this 48 weeks out of 52 out of the year because of a quiet period of the quarter. So $300 million a week. Let's assume $1 billion is going to be the going rate going forward. We're not there yet, but let's assume that. 300 million, times 48, that's 14.4 billion. That amount alone, compared to the BTC NAV currently of 74 billion, that's a 19.5% instant forward yield. So the yield right now, and I'm not saying he did 1 billion, but I think going forward is going to be realistic to expect perhaps $1 billion. At least that's what I want, $1 billion a week. If you do that alone, if you do that for the next 48 weeks, you are going to get a yield of roughly 20%, just about 20%. Imagine how much more we would make if MNAV was to return to 2x, which it may. We don't know. We don't know how hot the market is going to get. The problem is we can't time it. We have no idea when these things are going to happen. And remember, the preferreds are still an amazing story. They're a bonus. I consider them a bonus right now. It's not the main story right now. I think over time, the preferreds will take over that MSTR story, and the preferreds will be the best story going forward, right? In 26 and 27, the preferreds will work. And of course, the preferred will make money on the preferreds. I've highlighted multiple times, price to par. You make money on a price to par. So if you issue a preferred, you sell $115, a $100 preferred, you make $15, right? And he's done that a few times. But of course, the preferred are all about the torque. It's all about the arbitrage year after year. He expects Bitcoin to go up at 29%. If you only pay 8% dividend, you're making 21% every year worth of BTC gain. But the preferred are a much longer term story. The strategy story is the story of a long-term investor. I know a lot of people like to trade it, but I fundamentally believe that strategy is different. Strategy is less volatile than the meta planets of the world, for example. And I don't think it's a trader's tool. I think strategy is a long-term investor tool. The common equity is my favorite way to get exposure to strategy. Right now, the market value strategy 43% higher than the Bitcoin bag. And so what does that mean? Because we know these companies rarely go below 1. What that means is that if you let the yield story, the BTC yield story play out, you just have to wait, let's say 18 months. And if you wait 18 months, the bag should have grown by roughly 40-ish%, right? And so let's assume they do 30% this year, 25% in 2026, 20% in 2027, 15% in 2028. You can model this very easily, and you also take the increase of the price of Bitcoin, and I think you would understand why this is a coiled spring. In my view, this is going to be a coiled spring. And remember, even if NAV goes to 1, hopefully by the time that happens, we'll be in the preferred era. We will be in the preferred era, the era of the preferred equity. And the preferred equity, you do not need MNAV to be above 1 to generate yield. You don't need any MNAV to generate yield with the preferred equity. And that will be a different era, and that will be a good era when it comes. And Saylor is obviously working on this. This stock, there's a lot of reason why this stock should trade at a premium above a 1. Of course, one of the big reasons is the options market and the options interest. When you have an engine, and keep in mind, you as an investor, you can use, I don't know, MSTX and have some fun with the options in MSTX. A small company a small investor can do that. A big hedge fund cannot. A big hedge fund has to stay with those companies that have very high volumes and everything. And you know, you benefit from that, and so even though, yes, the volatility has been coming down, it is still, to me, one of the most attractive stocks when it comes to volatility, as far as the big stocks go, as far as the stocks where the big guys can actually place some volume. And I want to conclude this video. This is another idea that I'm exploring. I might make a video about that at some point. I've noticed institutional ownership increasing in strategy. This is from fintel.io. If you look at institutional ownership, and of course this big increase, right, is about the number of shares. Like, there's been many more shares issued. But if you look at the share of institutional ownership, it has increased in strategy. There's more and more institutional owners of this stock, and I find very interesting, because institutional owners are less likely to trade, so the volatility at some point is coming down. And one last idea I wanted to add is, I've been trying to think a lot about how, because the shareholder base, especially the retail shareholder base of strategy, is very fickle. So many people just give up and sell, very short-sighted, or maybe it's the minority of shareholders, the loud shareholders. So thinking about different classes of stock, I think a potential product that MSTR could have could be something called a loyalty share, or a loyalty dividend. And so apparently, I asked Grok about that. Apparently in the US, you could potentially do something where you give a perk of some kind, say a dividend, extra MSTR shares, I don't know, but a large financial gain, like you give a large financial reward to the long-term holders of strategy, right? And so let's assume you created a class of MSTR stock where somebody could get a reward if they've held it and not traded it for 3 years, where you can get a big reward. I think this is also something that Saylor could look into, and that would, of course, mitigate the sell pressure and create a shareholder base that really believes in owning the stock for the long run. So that's also, you know, another thought that I've had lately. But anyways, the point of this video is to tell you, we don't know when it's gonna pop. We can't know when they pop. But strategy, I've made multiple videos of strategy on enormous green days for this company, and in my view, there will be at some point in the future an enormous green day for strategy. A candle like this, at some point it will come. We just can't know when and can't predict that. So anyways, this was not investment advice. This is not financial advice, only entertainment on this channel. I hope you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe. Follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.